Every Sunday night, I'd promise myself that this week would be different. And by Friday night, I would find myself face in a full bag of chips, eating all of the calories in sight, and then I would just feel awful by myself, and the cycle would continue. Every single week for 5 years, I was in this constant state of binge restrict, and I totally understand how frustrating it can feel when you are in this cycle. And I tried everything, and I did this for years. I would lose a little bit of weight just to regain it plus more, and I would just feel so defeated week in, week out. In this video, I'm going to be sharing with you what actually changed and how you can stop binge eating for good. So if you feel like you're in that constant cycle at the moment, I can help you. And this is what I've helped thousands of women do the same, is to get out of this binge restrict cycle. See, what restriction actually does to your brain is your body's biology to, whenever you are restricting, it wants to make up for those extra calories. So you're going to go binge out on food. It's basic human biology. It's your body trying to protect itself because it's just gone in an intense few days of harsh restriction. So your body is trying to make up for those calories that it wasn't eating during that time. And your body wants to overcompensate and have even more calories and to gain even more weight, because the more body fat that you do have, if you were ever in some kind of like famine or say like a war where there was no food, your body, you will essentially survive longer if you have more body fat on you and you've just had an excess of calories, because your body doesn't know when it's going to get fed next, especially if it's so used to going through this binge restrict cycle. Of course, your body is going to want to just make up for those calories that you didn't have, plus more, to protect itself for the next time. So if you feel like your body is working against you, it's actually doing all the right things to keep you safe. But we want to make sure that we're working with your body and not against it. And this is why sustainable diets are so much better than those harsh restrictive phases. So next time your PT or your coach just tells you it's because you're not being disciplined enough or because you don't have enough willpower, I'm here to tell you that that is not the case. You can have all of the willpower in the world, but if you are restricting yourself too harshly, you are going to have such extreme hunger that you're going to feel like a bottomless pit in terms of hunger. You're going to want to eat absolutely everything in sight eventually. You can't help that. And trust me, this is coming from someone who has competed in bodybuilding. I know what discipline is like. That is discipline. But when you are so starved to the point of being really lean, or even if you aren't that lean at the moment, your body's still going to want to binge if you restrict too harshly, too aggressively, and too fast. It's not a lack of discipline, I can promise you that. It's actually your body protecting you. But when we know that, and when we know these things, we can implement things. So when you do a fat loss phase, you can actually sustain it. There are 3 things that has helped me break this cycle of binge eating and this yo-yo dieting. The first thing started with my mindset, and that was accepting that I had to gain a little bit of body fat initially. Stephanie Buttermore talks about the all-in diet and the approach when it comes to just being able to eat to your body's natural hunger and fullness cues. And this is actually something that I do recommend. There's a lot of research around the all-in diet and how effective it actually is. But to even start the all-in diet and to be able to actually eat until you're full constantly, you have to accept that you're going to gain a little bit of body fat. Every single time that I've needed to like reset my metabolism, for lack of a better term, I have had to go through this process of gaining a bit of body fat, a little bit more than what I'd like. Now, it doesn't have to be crazy, but going through a process of gaining a little bit of body fat, getting yourself out of that diet, that's one of the hardest things mentally, is if you can get your mindset to understand that, okay, through this period of time, I'm going to gain a little bit of body fat. That's okay, because it's only temporary. And once my hunger and fullness cues are back to normal and baseline and my body feels safe, then I can take a different approach that is slowly dieting and doing things properly, which is what I do with my clients. So accepting a bit of body fat gain is the first thing. Now, moving forward from that, the second thing that helps me get out of this binge restrict cycle is going through a reverse diet. What is a reverse diet? A reverse diet is a period of time where we actually like to increase your calories, and we do this from a calculated approach. Because yes, you can do the all-in diet from a point of just eating whatever and however much that you want. However, you can also take a more calculated approach, which is reverse dieting, where you will still get given calorie and macro protocols, and we just increase it over time. So instead of pulling back your calories, calories, we're slowly adding. The goal is to slowly add over time where we can still keep you as lean as possible whilst building your calories as high as possible. That is the goal. And with that, you're going to be in the most optimal position to be able to gain muscle at this point. So going through a reverse diet and getting yourself out of that diet for a period of time. So once again, accepting the fact that you might gain a little bit of body fat, but we only want it to be minimal, and we do this all in a calculated way. And the next thing is getting rid of cardio. I know when we are in this cycle, we just want to kind of like burn it off or just to go do heaps of cardio. But when we are really hungry and our hunger is super high, what we want to do when our hunger is high and we have those feelings of wanting to binge eat, the goal is to try and have our hunger as minimal and as small as possible. And how do we make sure that our hunger is as minimal as possible is we have to take out our cardio and our activity. Keeping your weight training, that's one of the best things that you can do, but we have to take out your cardio. And I know that can seem scary, especially if you're starting to eat more and you're reverse dieting and you're increasing your calories, but it shouldn't be scary because we want it to be still calculated. But we have to take out your cardio, especially if you're really hungry. The goal through any phase, whether it's a fat loss phase or if you find yourself in this like binge restrict cycle, is we have to make sure that we are keeping your hunger as minimal as possible. It will make your life so much easier. So we have to take out your cardio purely for that reason. Cardio has a great time and place. We're not against cardio. Love cardio when it's done correctly. But if you're in this cycle, you have to take out your cardio. Now, I have been a personal trainer for over 10 years, and I can absolutely assure you I have not binge ate in a very long time. I actually don't even remember my last binge, but I remember still so clearly how hard it was when I was in that cycle, and I would feel so defeated constantly and just feel like I was the only person going through this. But, you know, now I just have so much food freedom. I can essentially eat whatever I want. My hunger is low. I don't have any just constant like food noise all the time. Whereas before I was just always hungry. Even when I was full, I could still keep eating, and I was like still even just like mentally hungry, even though I wasn't physically hungry. And for those who have experienced what I've experienced, you know exactly how that feels. And I have worked with thousands of ladies to help break that cycle and get their metabolisms up to a healthy point. And that's, you know, where I'm at. I'm the leanest I have ever been, eating as much as I possibly can. And I once never thought that that was possible for me. And that's exactly what all my girls say as well. And this is why customized coaching is so important, because if you're just following a cookie cutter program, those cookie cutter programs are so generic and they have to be able to be quite aggressive to be able to work for everyone. So if you're just doing a challenge where it's like low calories, then of course it's going to be quite aggressive for you, especially if you weigh a little bit more, if you're a little bit taller than what that plan was worked out for, then that's going to be way too harsh of a deficit and you're not going to be able to stick to it. You're just going to end up wanting to binge and go off track. This is why customized coaching is so important, and making sure that you have the right protocols for yourself that's not too aggressive, that you can still stick to. Otherwise, you're just going to want to eat absolutely everything in sight in week 2. But I just want to show you that it absolutely is possible to get to a point where you do have this food freedom, that you can eat whatever you want, that you do have low food noise, that you're not constantly just fluctuating up in weight, because my weight used to fluctuate within 20 kilos. I went from 50 kilos to 70 kilos in the matter of a few months, and that was so hard to go through. So I know how alone it can make you feel. Heck, I've walked it and I've lived it, and I went from being a binge eater to being a bikini competitor pro, and I teach thousands of clients to do the same, and it's just the best feeling. But if you feel stuck, you're not going to always be like this. I can absolutely promise you that. If you need a hand, just send me a DM on Instagram. Just let me know a little bit about yourself and we can have a chat. Just DM me the word coaching and I'll send you some messages from there. So I just want to give you a few practical tips to leave you off with. Is 1, accept the fact that you have to gain a little bit of weight. It's going to be temporary and it's going to be okay. 2, I want you to start looking at reverse dieting. I want you to build your calories up over time, slowly adding in even just small 50-calorie increments every single week. Look at your progress photos and adjust accordingly. You make sure that you're reverse dieting and increasing your calories. And 3, get rid of your cardio. We don't need it. We want to keep hunger as minimal as possible and eat plenty of whole foods, high fiber foods. And one of the biggest tips that I can give for binge eating, I'm going to tell you right now, that is, instead of looking at your food and thinking, how can I make this as minimal and as low calorie as possible? I want you to start looking at your food and ask yourself, how can I make this as filling and as satiating as possible? And when you have that mindset switch, things will get so much easier for you. And once again, then you're taking away that mental restriction side of things. Have a meal that that's higher calories than what you're typically comfortable with. If you're trying to stay on track for eating these 300 calorie meals that you're left still feeling hungry just to binge out on chocolate later, then that's not going to serve you any justice. I would rather you have an 800 calorie meal, be super full, so you're not thinking about your next meal for hours. And if you need structure, please just DM me and I can help you with. This is exactly what I'm expert at, and I know what it's like to just feel so stuck in this cycle. It took me way too long to get out of this, and I just wish I had someone like me to be able to help me get out of the cycle. But I just want to say thank you all so much for watching. Make sure you subscribe if you haven't already. And that being said, I will see you guys in the next video. Love you all so much.